We have Father Mr. Wu. We have his attorney, Jessica Laurie. We have mother's attorney, Kristen Newhouse. Child's attorney, Mr. Simkins. Various agency workers. We have the Casa supervisor, as well as foster parent. Mr. Sumpkins.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I would call Megan Rinaldi as my
Okay.
witness.
Would you raise your right hand? State your name and spell it for the record, please.
Megan Rinaldi, MEAGANRINALDI.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Rinaldi. You are the foster care case manager for this case, correct?
Correct.
All right, and how long have you been on this case now?
I've been on this case since February 18 of 2024.
Okay. And for today's hearing, you prepared and or submitted various reports, correct?
Correct.
All right, Your Honor, I can run through all 5 exhibits at the court first.
That would be fine.
Okay, thank you. Proposed exhibit 1 is a case service plan, updated service plan with attached treatment plans dated August 7, 2025. Proposed exhibit 2 is a court addendum dated September 22nd, 2025. Proposed exhibit 3 is a Samaritas trauma report, 41 pages long, dated September 20 or approved on September 26, 2025. Proposed exhibit 4 is a parent time specialist report dated September 25, 2025. And proposed exhibit 5 is a Casa report dated October 2nd, 2025.
Any objections?
No objection.
No, Your Honor.
All right, they're admitted.
All right, thank you. Ms. Rinaldi, I guess we'll begin the hearing as we normally do with an update on TP.
Okay. TP is up to date on his medical and dental appointments. He continues to attend both ABA as well as Georgetown, although right now his time at Georgetown is increasing. They're trying to slowly move him to be full-time at Georgetown and ABA. However, still being mindful of if TP does need ABA. A big behavior that's right now happening is defiance, just not listening, and when told no, he just will continue to do it or won't respond to his name when he's mad. There's also been an increase of wetting himself in the past couple weeks, and in the past 2 weeks, he's wet himself between 4 to 6 times. So right now, his caregiver is working on that with him, as well as those big behaviors of defiance and pulling his fists up in anger and stomping his feet. So, yeah.
Okay. And Georgetown is his elementary school, correct?
Correct.
My understanding is that he used to have an IEP, does not any longer, but they're looking into maybe getting a new IEP or was it the 504 plan?
Yes, they're looking at getting him an IEP or possibly 504. The trauma assessment that he completed in August recommended he get an IEP for his PTSD. So right now they're meeting about that. I believe on Friday is a meeting with the just teachers and staff members to kind of discuss like what that criteria would look like for him and if he meets the criteria for an IEP. If not a 504, but hopefully it is an IEP, as that's what was recommended.
And before we get into that trauma evaluation, how is he doing at Georgetown so far?
He's been doing fine. There hasn't been any concerns with his behavior there. There's been some acting out while at ABA, like elopement, not following instructions, taking toys from friends or pushing friends. So there's been a lot more acting out while at ABA versus at Georgetown.
And there's been some discussion about maybe kind of toning down, for lack of a better phrase, of the ABA. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Can you describe that?
Yes, so they're starting to increase his time at Georgetown. For example, on Monday was his first full day at Georgetown. Right now, his schedule is half day at Georgetown in the morning and then ABA in the afternoon. And so right now they're trying to slowly increase that time at Georgetown. First, like for a full day on Monday for a couple weeks, and then they'll move to Monday and Tuesday at Georgetown and slowly make him a full week at school instead of half school and ABA.
And is that decision been made in consultation with counselors and trauma assessment individuals and the entire treatment team here?
I don't believe that decision was made with the treatment team or the team for his case. I believe that was something that was discussed with his caregiver and the staff members at ABA as well as school, and they thought it would be best for him at this time. They are keeping in mind, though, that if there are any adverse behaviors or concerns that would prompt the TP to go back to ABA, they would go back to the normal schedule.
Okay, so he'll be monitored closely, and everyone wants what's best for him in those settings, correct?
Correct.
Okay. As you touched on, he did have a very thorough trauma assessment at Samaritas, correct?
Correct.
All right, what are the results of that? I know it's 41 pages long, but if you could perhaps summarize what we found out through that.
So for just the summary purposes, I could go through recommendations of what was recommended due to those results.
Okay.
So based on those results, it was recommended that he complete an OT evaluation. And this was to help him figure out like sensory triggers as well as the concern with him wetting himself. That OT can just help with body control and also psychoeducation in regard to those sensory triggers. It was also recommended to implement a sleep schedule or create habits surrounding the lack of sleep, as that is a prime concern right now, is that he isn't getting enough sleep for a 5-year-old. He also to receive one-on-one tutoring with a teacher or to continue to build up his academics, create a calming toolbox for his with his caregivers, an IEP for that PTSD, get him involved in extracurricular activities, family therapy, as well as psychoeducation on autism for the caregiver, and education on empathy, grounding, what foster care looks like, family roles, etc., for Theo himself. There is also a recommendation for both trauma-informed parenting and positive parenting for caregivers.
Okay. I noticed in that report that diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder for children 6 years and younger, but there was also an autism spectrum disorder. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. And all with, if you encompass all the treatment he's receiving, is that being addressed as well?
Yes.
Okay. And I did also note that overall findings in the area of development indicate that area, the post-traumatic stress, especially the traumatic events, were a significant concern for him. Did you note that as well?
Correct.
Is there anything else you want to mention for TP before we kind of get into the combined discussion of his parenting time with Mr. Wu and things of that nature?
I did want to point out regarding that trauma assessment that within there, there was 2 relational attachments completed, both for caregiver as well as for Mr. Wu. And it came back with a secure attachment for with TP's caregiver, and then a secure attachment with Mr. Wu with avoidant tendencies.
Okay, that's exactly where I was going to go next. So
Okay.
appreciate that. I did notice that as well. When I look at the section relating to the caregiver, it notes that Theo and his grandmother fell into the appropriate roles in interacting with one another. Grandma makes him happy. There's a lot of talk about how safe and secure he is. Is that all accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And then essentially beginning on page 17 or so, there is something that I found a little bit disturbing. It says that TP's father covered TP's ears as he complained, I assume he being Mr. Wu, to the clinician about his mother, and that would be Ms. Wu, Dio's caregiver. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, and I did bring it up to Mr. Wu's attention as I read that. And he reported it was something to do with the question that was being asked. However, I'm not sure what questions were being asked to prompt that response at this time.
It also notes that TP's father struggled to create structure. Can you elaborate on that?
I'm not sure what area they were doing at that time, but from what it looks like, he struggled to create structure and allowed TP to take all their supplies out, which was creating that chaos and may have led to TP becoming dysregulated versus how his caregiver did it was to have TP take out certain supplies at a time and then put things back as they were finished with them.
And I noted in another segment of these evaluations that TP's father, Mr. Wu, presented as impatient at times, occasionally rushed Theodore or TP through these tasks, while in that same segment, it looked like his caregiver took more time and was more nurturing. Is that accurate?
Yes. It did also note that Mr. Wu did provide that nurturing touch to keep and asked him questions to keep him engaged, but there was those notes as well.
Okay. There was something else about a feeding task, and it sounded like Mr. Wu didn't follow the instructions as required in that one. Is that right?
Correct.
And I think you noted this, but the summary of findings were that it looked like there was characteristics of a secure attachment with his caregiver, however, an avoidant attachment with Mr. Wu.
Correct. The way it was stated was it was secure, yet there was avoidant tendencies.
Okay. Anything else with respect to TP specifically before we move on?
Not at this time.
Okay. For Mr. Wu, I know that there are some positives. Certainly, he's attended, looks like all of his parenting times. Is that right?
Correct. There was one missed last week, Thursday. This was due to a medical emergency, however.
Okay. And did he call in and let you know ahead of time?
Yes, I was aware of it.
Okay. However, it appears when I read through all the various reports that were submitted for today, that there are some things that he is not taken care of, that he should have taken care of by now. And I'll let you elaborate on these, but I mean, a big one for me is this Mr. Rika, who was TP's counselor. Am I correct in that Mr. Rika is not recommending unsupervised visits until Mr. Wu attends therapy with TP?
From how I understood it, Mr. Rika reported that starting unsupervised at the agency would be a good trial to that. However, he didn't say anything about Mr. Wu having to meet with him prior to unsupervised starting. I had been conversing with him about the unsupervised. One thing Mr. Riker does require and isn't expected of Mr. Wu is that he meets Mr. Rika as well as engages in those end sessions of TP's therapy. And at this time, that has not happened yet.
Okay, and that was my next question. I mean, at this point, that is a requirement for his treatment plan, right? To meet with Mr. Rika and schedule these appointments?
Correct. Part of his treatment plan is engaging in TP's services, and that would be part of it.
And Mr. Wu's had 2 months to get this done at this point, or over 2 months, correct?
Correct.
Why hasn't he done this?
I've continued to follow up with Mr. Wu, and the last time I met with him, which was Tuesday, was that he reported forgetting to complete this task. I have reminded him every time I meet with him each month, as well as attempted to CC both Mr. Rika and Mr. Wu on September 9th to start that communication. However, to my knowledge, it still has not happened yet.
Okay. Mr. Wu has also been asked for his ID and social security card, or yeah, is that right? In order to, and also TP's birth certificate, in order to take care of some important referrals. What's going on with that?
This is in regard to housing. We do have TP's birth certificate, so that side of things, I believe is covered. But for Mr. Wu, he needs an ID as well as a social security card or some form that has his social security number on it and can be confirmed. And this is for his housing voucher. He recently was informed, well, I want to say recently, but it was, I believe, in August 29th, that his name was at the top of the white list for a housing voucher, that Family Unification Program housing voucher. And they were going to be sending him some information. And on that letter, it states that he needs a social security card and an ID. And there was just a little confusion when we did receive that housing letter on if there was going to be a full packet or if that letter was stating exactly what is needed. So Mr. Wu did later on in September find out that he just needed his ID and a social security card to get that housing voucher fully started.
Okay, so is that over a month though, and that's not been done, correct?
Correct, it has not been done.
Is he still living at the Motel 6?
Yes,
Is the Motel 6 an appropriate placement for TP?
no.
Does he have a roommate at the Motel 6? It sounded like he had to help a roommate pay for rent or something.
He does have a roommate at this time that was splitting the rent with him. However, at this time as well, his roommate does not have a job, and so Mr. Wu is footing the entire rent of $1,280.
Has your agency ever been able to do a background check on this roommate?
No.
Okay. So we don't know if the roommate's appropriate either, correct?
Correct.
All right. There was a Cherry Health referral as well, correct?
Correct.
It sounds like he's not made any progress in getting into Cherry Health.
He did complete intake with Cherry Health on the 22nd of August, and the earliest start date was November 2nd. And so due to that start date, which was basically 3 months after that intake, we were looking at doing Wedgwood or referring him to Wedgwood. However, for that referral, I need his insurance number, and I have requested that from him a few times now, and I still have not received that insurance number to refer him to that.
Did you or your agency make the initial Cherry Health referral for him?
It wasn't a referral. It was I had called them and they noted that the best way to start services was to go to Cherry Health and then complete intake in person.
Okay. And when was that discussed? Was that discussed before August?
That was discussed before August, yes. I believe it was discussed before the last court hearing as well, as I don't remember if it was discussed fully at the court hearing or not, but I remember there being quite a few discussions about therapy over the past couple months.
So it sounds like that he's delayed going to this intake for quite a while.
Correct.
In other words, he could have already been in this therapy had he gone when it was first brought up, correct?
Correct.
We touched on the visits. He's made nearly all of them, which is great. It seems like during the summer months, they were kind of doing more activities, but now they're doing a little bit more movie watching. Is that a concern?
That is, there was a lot of outings that Mr. Wu can participate in over the summer. They're a little bit more active due to just the timings, as the zoo closes earlier when school starts, while in the summer there's longer hours for those activities. However, there has been an increase in Mr. Wu doing movie watching with TP or TV show watching. And the concern comes really from TP wanting to play with Play-Doh or play outside or do other things. And Mr. Wu will say, well, we'll do that next time. And then they'll continue watching the movie or TV show. So his PTS worker is working with him on expanding his on how he can engage with TP during those visits.
Okay. And my understanding is that TP is coming right from either ABA or school and going straight to the visit. Is that right?
Correct. He's coming straight from ABA.
And after a long day, isn't it important that he get exercise and get out and kind of burn off some energy?
Correct.
Okay. Who is, where's the name again? Sorry, Ms. Brechting, and tell us what's going on with Mr. Wu, trying to, or, no, supposed to be contacting Ms. Brechting.
Miss Brechting is TP's ABA support person or contact person. On a monthly basis, Ms. Brechting and TP's caregiver and Mr. Wu meet to talk about TP's treatment plan, what's going on with TP, what the next steps are. And I know Mr. Wu started engaging in those, I believe in July of this year, and he attended July's one, and then September's one, and then this month as well, he's planning to attend. So there has been engagement with that. I did also reach out to Ms. Brechting for any information regarding autism. So I provided information to Mr. Wu just about an overview of autism and some parenting tips regarding that, so that Mr. Wu could also be educated on that outside of those meetings.
Is that through Lighthouse?
That is through Lighthouse, yes.
Okay.
Lighthouse ABA.
So he missed the meeting in August, is that right?
Correct.
My understanding is he missed a hearing and vision test as well. Do you know about that?
Correct. I believe that was in regard to he had a placement test at GRCC and wasn't able to make it in time on that day.
Okay. Sounds like he has obtained his GED, so that's good, right?
Correct.
And he's working at Little Caesar still?
Correct.
Okay. Have you been able to go over a budget with him?
I have. I went over a budget with him most recently on Tuesday.
Okay. Does he have enough income to cover expenses and caring for TP?
At this time, no. With his expenses and income that he's currently receiving, he is left in the negative each month.
Okay.
Or at least with $0 in his bank account.
Does he have transportation?
He uses the bus, sometimes his scooter, and he also has used Uber or Lyft in the past.
And you have provided a lot of your agency at least, has provided transportation for him in the past as well, correct?
Correct.
Is that something you're going to continue to do, or are you looking for him to be able to support himself in these areas in order to, gauge whether or not he's able to successfully reunify with TP?
For parenting times, Mr. Wu is expected to get to and from family times on his own. If there's been meetings at the agency that I have with him and he's not able to take the bus to and from his family time due to that, because it's in the community, we do help him with that. We also sometimes help him with getting to those ABA meetings as they are off the bus line. However, it is expected that Mr. Wu will sort out a valid and stable transportation of his own. I have discussed with Mr. Wu using the bus or utilizing a wave card, as that will help him with some of his expenses, but also it's a stable mode of transportation. And that's something I continue to talk to him about. I did bring it up on Tuesday, and I just want to bring it back up with him as he seemed a little hesitant to start. So I want to make sure we're on the same page regarding transportation.
And it looks like he's either going to enroll in Grand Rapids Community College or he has. Do you know what the latest update on that is?
Yes. The prior to Tuesday, he was going to enroll for fall of this year. However, he has changed that plan to spring of 2026. This is as he's working on housing as well as working on things for Theo, as well as his job. And so he feels like he would have better time scheduling things in spring of 2026.
All right, very good. Anything else with respect to Mr. Wu?
Not at this time.
All right, and has TP had any contact with his mother?
There has been some contact with his mother. TP's caregiver usually supervises that. I say usually, she supervises it every time. And it's typically a phone call, maybe some text messages. I actually was able to observe one phone call recently, and TP was observed excited to talk to her over the phone and chatted with her for a couple minutes. TP's caregiver reports that they're appropriate, and when TP is ready to be done with the phone call, he will usually say, "I'm done," and they end.
Okay. Are these relatively rare phone calls?
They ebb and flow. Sometimes they're quite frequently. Sometimes it's once a month or not that often. It really depends on the availability of Miss Panlock or what's going on with TP.
And she is still under a non-participation agreement, correct?
Correct.
All right. Don't think I asked you about this, but it's in the reports. Is there still an increase in TP's negative behaviors before and after visits with Mr. Wu?
There is that big defiance I was talking about earlier of not listening when his caregiver will ask him to do something. He will not respond, won't listen, has to be told multiple times, or threatened to go in the corner before something is completed or an action is stopped. So I do think those behaviors are still occurring consistently.
Are those being addressed in counseling with TP?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I believe this hearing was designated as a review and permanency planning hearing. So let's go through the permanency planning questions. Are you recommending a return home of TP to either parent at this time?
No.
Okay, and why not?
At this time, neither parent has lifted their barriers enough to return TP at this time.
Okay, are you recommending termination of parental rights at this point?
No.
Okay, and that's despite the fact that this case is 30 months old?
Correct. There has been some progress, although very minimal. Mr. Wu is working towards his goals and working on his goals, although there is a concern of consistent motivation to complete the tasks asked of him, and there is that concern that I have to consistently ask him to do a task or complete a task, yet there is some progress being made.
Okay. And lastly, is TP receiving age and physical and developmentally appropriate activities in the care of Ms. Wu?
Yes.
Okay, what are your recommendations today?
The agency respectfully recommends that TP remain a temporary court ward, that TP remains placed in his out-of-home relative placement, that Mr. Wu comply with his parent agency treatment plan, that visits between Mr. Wu and TP be at the agency's discretion, and that a review hearing be held in 90 days.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Laurie.
Thank you. All right, just to follow up on a couple things. So Mr. Wu has maintained employment at the same place, correct?
Correct.
And that provides him with at least a basis of stability for income and to be able to get places and provide for himself and TP at some point.
Correct.
All right. And has he even I guess informed you that he's up for a manager position, which would allow for more hours and more income as well?
He has reported that he is up for a manager position and that could increase his pay to $17 an hour. I'm not sure if there's a timeline on that, and Mr. Wu appears to also not be sure when that will occur. But yes, I have been informed of that.
Okay. So that's been a positive, at least in providing some stability for him and hopefully increase income and increase, his control over his own schedule as well.
Correct.
All right. But obviously employment takes a lot of time out of his day and business working hours and so forth, correct?
Correct.
All right. So he is juggling appointments with his own therapist or Cherry Health and TP's therapists, as well as school and medical appointments for himself and his child. These are all things he's juggling around a work schedule.
He is working around his schedule for to engage in TP services and family times.
Okay. So it's not as though we have a father that is not working and doesn't have anything to do and still is not getting some of these tasks done. He's trying to fit it all in as best he can.
Correct.
All right. But there's a sense of urgency the agency wants to see given the length of time TP has been out of the home of his parents.
Correct.
All right. And so Cherry Health, it sounds like that November 2nd date, is that kind of, are we switching turns to just attending that appointment and continuing with Cherry Health since they have all this information, intake's been completed and so forth?
That is right now the plan. Wedgwood would, if I receive that insurance card, I could potentially get an intake appointment completed within a week and get Mr. Wu started. However, since it is October, it would be now about a month before he would start those counseling services. And so I'm just trying to mitigate the need for counseling while also the urgency of trying to get things going with this case.
Okay. Is one location easier for him to get to than the other, just given bus routes and so forth, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. This Cherry Health is on a bus route.
Okay.
And it's downtown-ish.
Okay. I know Cherry Health is, but I didn't know if Wedgwood would be the same.
Oh,
eat for him.
Wedgwood. Oh, that's a good point. Talking about Wedgwood, I did talk to them to see about virtual, and they would be able to do virtual as well, as Wedgwood is down, I believe, closer to Kentwood than anything. So
Right.
I was mindful about that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So he is engaging with Miss Brechting. He did miss a month. Is the expectations the monthly meetings?
Correct.
All right. And the issue with Mr. I'm going to not be able to pronounce it, Rika. I think this is in your addendum, but essentially Mr. Wu thought Mr. Rika was reaching out to him and Mr. Rika thought Mr. Wu was reaching out to him. Correct? So there was nothing going on for several weeks here.
Correct.
All right. And do you know if Mr. Wu has now reached out to Mr. Rika, sent him an email, and hopefully started that communication?
I would need to double check, as the last conversation I had with Mr. Wu was on Tuesday. And he noted he would attempt to call or reach out to Mr. Rika after that family time. I'm not too sure if that's occurred at this time.
Okay. So hopefully, assuming that has occurred, then that will that communication will start. And so the unsupervised visits is planning to start today. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And it was just the recommendation to kind of start it at the agency where TP is familiar, but around the area where they can find something to do, I guess. Is that?
Correct. The point of having it here at the agency to start with is that there's cameras, but also there's people around in case something happens. I am aware that the cameras are not all outside. And so due to that and some concerns, noted just about concerns if TP does get dysregulated, I have safety plan with Mr. Wu as well.
Okay. All right. And he's excited and ready for these unsupervised visits, and hopefully it will kind of give them a different change in scenery outside of the agency room that they've been at, I think, for a little while.
Correct.
Okay. And is TP still enjoying his visits with his father?
Yes.
Okay. So he is bonded to his father.
Yes. He has been observed saying, "I love you," holding hands, hugs, or cuddling with his dad during family times.
Okay. All right, great. And the visits have increased a little bit at least each week?
Correct. With, I believe we started, I don't know if it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but it started off with 4:30 to 6 now, both Tuesday and Thursday.
All right, great. So there's a little bit more time to see parenting skills, to maybe do other activities outside of kind of relaxing, decompressing after school.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Housing, we've obviously stated the Motel 6 is he's at least remained in a stable place. He's not bopping around, but the plan is to move out of there. Mr. Wu doesn't intend to stay in the Motel 6.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So I know we've kind of gone through the housing voucher, and I guess would you at least agree that both the agency or yourself and Mr. Wu were confused when you got this packet about waiting for a packet, and so there was kind of no action taking because you are expecting a packet to be delivered to the agency, correct?
Correct.
All right. So he needs to get a social security card, and hopefully that will be a good option for a housing in the next 3 months.
Correct.
And worst case, as Mr. Wu indicated, that he might be financially able to also get into his own place if needed, especially if he gets a raise.
I would need to discuss that with Mr. Wu, as I know he was saving towards a car and some housing. However, because of his roommate not being able to pay his share of the rent, Mr. Wu's savings have been depleted. But if that is something that he is able to do, we would work with him on that.
Okay. All right. So you've kind of given him a list of things to do. Is there any other I think one of the things was mentioned, a positive parenting class. Is he still going to finish with the parenting program he's doing now?
I do apologize. Mr. Wu has completed his parenting after trauma class. He completed that September 16th, and he attended all of those sessions. I did
Okay.
forget to say that. Apologize.
Okay, great. And do they provide a certificate or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So he has completed the parenting class and or the parenting time specialist. I guess that's what the other thing I was referring to.
Yes, he continues with a PTS worker, parenting time specialist worker, and he will continue with that until it's deemed that he is no longer needing that extra coaching or extra support.
Okay, all right. So other than that, no other specific referrals in regards to parenting outside of obviously following up with TPs, therapists, and providers.
Correct, as well as that positive parenting. I believe you also noted that part of the trauma assessment recommendation was positive parenting. So I will be looking into classes that Mr. Wu can take.
Okay, so that's not a specific class. It's just kind of a, okay, all right. Okay. All right. Let's see. So while there's things on the to-do list, we are moving in a positive direction. We're moving towards unsupervised, increased parenting time for Mr. Wu and TP.
Correct.
The bond continues to be building. There is an attachment there that's recognized, I guess, visually by the parties involved as well as through the trauma assessment.
Correct.
Were you able to go through the trauma assessment with Mr. Wu also?
Mr. Wu participated in that trauma assessment meeting with the caregiver Casa as well as me.
Okay.
And he did go through that. I've also given him a physical and virtual copy.
Okay, great. That's kind of the debriefing when they went through.
Correct.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, I think those are the only questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newhouse.
Thank you. Is it safe to say that little TP is going to have long-term needs and a caregiver that addresses those needs?
Say that one more time. Like, is it fair to say that he would have a long-term caregiver right now or in the future?
No. Just that he has long-term needs. Let me break it down. He is going to have long-term needs. We're not going to solve his autism spectrum disorder in the next couple of years, right?
Correct.
Okay. Would you agree that he needs a caretaker? Because, you know, whatever, in whatever form that is is able to, if TP has needs, referrals, somebody that can act on those timely, and with attention to those needs, right?
Correct.
Well, I'm concerned that the father's not attending to the stuff he needs to do at this point, and I'm concerned that if he was the caretaker for the child, would he be able to follow up on those needs, because he's not following up on the things that you're asking him to do, albeit he's doing more right now.
Correct. He is doing things. However, there is the concern of him not doing it consistently or being, in a lack of a better term, nagged to complete these tasks. So the concern of when TP does return to him and him maintaining that is a real concern. And that is something that I have been working with him on.
I know Okay, I know there was some discussion earlier on about a juvenile guardianship with the grandmother. Have you had any recent discussions with Mr. Wu about that?
I do know for the guardianship, TP's caregiver is not open to doing a guardianship as she would prefer to have that permanent longevity with TP through adoption. I know Mr. Wu would be open to doing guardianship, however, TP's caregiver is not, so we have not gone down that road.
All right, thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Simkins, any follow-up?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Laurie, any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Any further witnesses, Mr. Sumpkins?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Newhouse?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Laurie?
No, Your Honor.
All right, statements, Mr. Sumpkins.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I did have a visit with TP. He's doing great as he always is. I saw him in the context of his caregiver's home. I guess I disagree here with the agency's recommendation, but I understand why they're making that recommendation. Because this case is 2.5 years old, which I believe is 30 months, it's time for permanency. And I feel like we kind of touch on this at every hearing over the last roughly year or so. And I was looking back to my notes and I see that Cherry Health was discussed back in April and it's still not taking place. And that's not the only thing. There are multiple things here that just are not getting done. Now, I have no doubt whatsoever that I mean, there's a strong loving bond between Mr. Wu and TP. I don't doubt that at all. And the good thing is that TP is with Mr. Wu's mother. So I can't envision a scenario where even if she's allowed to adopt TP, that she wouldn't let Mr. Wu have visitation as long as, you know, he's doing everything appropriately and not having any issues. So I see the agency's position here where there still is some progress, but it's just not enough at this point. I mean, this case has been going on for so long, and he's unfortunately just not getting enough done for reunification. He's doing a lot of good things, don't get me wrong, but just not enough at this point where I think, I mean, I certainly can't recommend that TP be returned to his care anytime soon. I noticed that all the reports noted the same thing. The Casa report, the trauma assessment, he's just not ready for to be a full-time caregiver at this point. So since this is a permanency planning hearing, I would ask the court to initiate a goal change. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Laurie?
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, on behalf of Mr. Wu, you know, I think the recommendations for continued time for reunification is appropriate. Progress is being made. We are moving to unsupervised visits today. That is, we've increased visit times. We've been consistent in visiting. You know, let's remember, unfortunately, Mr. Wu, which you can't go back and change, spent a good portion of this time, you know, in jail. And while he was in jail, he was working services, he was completing classes, all of those things which are documented throughout this case. That's the best that he could do. He got out with essentially nothing and has been able to maintain employment and, you know, is working his way up in employment. He is working through housing, which is not an easy thing to do, but he's making his way through that. He is you know, building his time, engaging and learning about his son's autism, what his needs are, his specific needs are, attending the trauma assessment, following up with his providers as well. And I think that will continue to be built upon in the next 3 months. There's a lot of pieces at play. He's working, he's obtained his GED, he's enrolled in college, or going to be enrolled in college at GRCC. It sounds like that's getting put off till the spring, but there's a lot of positive things here that he's doing in order to be a place that can take care of TP in the future, in a long run. So I think looking at a change in goal, I mean, I can see based on the length of time, you know, a guardianship might be appropriate, but since that's not where we're at, we have a bond, we have a father that's working services and building on those services. So I don't think a goal change to termination is appropriate at this time. Mr. Wu has worked really hard, and it's just so that he can be a father to his son. So, I think that allowing 3 more months, we'll see a lot of more positive progress in those next 3 months, including his own therapy and hopefully some housing changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Newhouse.
No statement, thank you.
All right. Thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute. That returning this child to a parent today would cause a substantial risk of harm to the child's life, physical health, or mental well-being. That the child should not be returned to a parent, that the child has been in foster care, unfortunately, for more than 15 of the last 22 months. However, the agency should not initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to the child for the following compelling reasons. One, Mr. Wu has only really been able to work a treatment plan since his release a little over 6 months ago. And he is making progress. There's a strong bond between this child and his father, and the child is in relative placement. That reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, that those reasonable efforts for reunification be continued, that in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating the conditions that caused the child to be placed to remain in temporary foster care have not been made by either parent, at least not to the extent that the child can be reunified today. That the child's continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting the child's needs. That the needs of this child can be met in a foster family home. That reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court-approved permanency plan of return to a parent. That permanency planning goal continue to be appropriate at this time. The court orders that the child continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue placement with the department for care and supervision. That the adjudicated respondents comply with and benefit from the case service plan, along with signing any and all necessary releases that the department may need. Continue the order for Ms. Pennock to have supervised parenting time, for Mr. Wu to have parenting time at the discretion of the agency to allow unsupervised or supervised parenting time by its designee. Continue the attorneys in this matter. And Ms. Gibson, do we have a date for the next hearing, which will be another permanency planning hearing?
Yes, Your Honor. January 6th from 10 to 11.
Any conflicts with that date or time?
I do. I know I'm not a active player here. I have a in-person with Judge Gardner at 10 o'clock that day.
Can you do 11 o'clock?
I could do 11.
I have a termination hearing with Judge Gottlieb that morning.
Okay, then that date's out.
Okay, one moment. The next day, January 7, I have 10 to 11.
That I can do.
It's fine. Thank you.
That works.
All right. Mr. Wu, you have been making a lot of progress, but I do need to tell you that in January, I need to see you sort of taking control of things, getting things
Yes,
done
ma'am.
without having to be nagged. Because if you're not able, as Ms. Newhouse pointed out, if you're not able to take care of your own business right now, you certainly are not going to be able to take care of TP's. He does have a lot of extra needs,
He
special
does,
needs.
and I
So-
did not like the feeling that I just got during this. I want to apologize, and
Okay.
I do realize that I have been slacking, and that's not okay.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to kind of put you on notice that I've been giving you
No, I
time,
know.
but when we hit January, the time's pretty much up. Okay.
No, I know.
Okay. All
And
right.